Hello, guys, and welcome to the live review of Real Madrid 2, Chelsea 0. And all I can say, same as what my name says, same shit, different day, same old rubbish from Chelsea Football Club. And that is why I couldn't be asked to watch. I went football for the first half, come home to see this red card, and that was all she wrote. That was all I watched. The red card. I was finished there. I was like, you know what? Can't be asked for this. Got better things to do. Washing my hair, watching paint dry. Any other household chore I can do at 9 o'clock at night. But there you go. It is what it is. I am joined by two wonderful guests, starting with Alfred. How you doing, my friend?
Yeah, look, man, I'm disappointed, to be honest, that we couldn't hang on to just get out of there with losing 1-0. That would have been a lot better. Going into Stamford Bridge would have given us a much bigger opportunity to doing something. But now it's obviously made the task a lot harder. But still, you have to say that I forgot exactly which minute the red card came in, but you've got to say still,
59.
when you consider what happened to Liverpool, and I'm pretty sure they had 11 men on the pitch the whole time, they conceded 5. Look, with a red card and only 2-0 down going into the second leg, under the circumstances, I suppose you just take it and we just do whatever we can at Stamford Bridge. But it's going to have to be one of those absolutely magical Stamford Bridge Champions League nights if we're going to do something in that second leg, because Real Madrid actually they looked very, very good. They looked very well organised. Didn't let us do too much, even though we did have some opportunities, which hopefully Wayne can elaborate on a little bit more, because the stream that I was watching was fucking on and off constantly, so I'll probably missed quite a few of the chances. But yeah, over to you, Wayne. What have you got to say, my friend? Hopefully you got to see more than I did.
Yeah, luckily for me, I probably unlucky for everyone else, I was the only one who got to see the game fully then. I'm actually not disappointed. I'm not like you two guys. I'm not disappointed. I'm actually pleased with the result.
Are you pleased because it's one less game before the rest of the season's done?
No, I'm actually pleased because I think we've got a good chance second leg. I think there's certain things went against us that couldn't have been helped. I think, yes, we can sit here and criticise, say, about Chelsea's lack of winning at the moment and that, but I didn't expect us to score this game. I knew it was going to be a tough one. I said it all along. It's going to be one in that midfield. Unfortunately, I think in certain stages, our midfield did look too deep, and it gave space for Valverde and Kroos to make their sort of passes and directness. Yes, we had, and we created opportunities as well. It's unfortunate we couldn't finish them, and Courtois made a really good save as well. So it was more positive for me. Yet I'm just upset with the referee. I think the referee went in the book too quickly in the first half, especially with Fofana and Camavinga. Unfortunately, it didn't help with our side because obviously Reece James was booked already. Fofana was booked. Silva was booked. So in that situation, they had to be seriously clever not to get booked again. Obviously, they missed the second leg. When Koulibaly got injured, well, it looks like he's done his hamstring, and hopefully it's not too serious. he made the wrong choice. He put Cucurella on, and then I think was it Rodrigo? He got away from Cucurella. Chilwell had to come back and unfortunately had to foul him, and it got to the red card and it affected us from there on. And Chalobah did come on finally, what he should have done in the first place, but then unfortunately we had to take 2 strikers off, but didn't do bad. Sterling and Felix didn't do bad for what they had to deal with. I think they did all right. And we then, unfortunately, were playing defensively, and they caught us out at a quick corner for the second goal. It is frustrating. I think there's certain things we need to improve on. The one question I have got to ask, and obviously I hope you guys feel the same way, is why is it we're so what's the word? Not confident on scoring goals anymore or taking opportunities. We're not confident crossing the ball, having an opportunity. And Felix is making his own opportunities, it seems like now. And there's no one else helping him. And it's frustrating me, to be honest, watching. I've never seen Chelsea so no forward power. It's not like Chelsea to ever be like that. Even when we had Potter, we didn't look that bad. I just don't get it. I just don't get why we're so shy in the forward line. Felix can't do it on his own, and it was shown again today. He was making great opportunities, and when he turned around to make the opportunity to pass it, there was no one there, so he had to do it on his own, and it's just frustrating at the moment watching that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just frustrating watching Chelsea in general. But big up to the 31 people that are listening. Big up to Danny, Rowe, Shamar, English, Fox, Hashim, Zane, PD, Gav as usual. Big up to everyone in the comments, and of course Patrick coming with his Mount agenda as usual. Wouldn't have it without you, guy, mate. But KJ, from the basis of what Wayne said, we played quite well. How do you react to that?
That's capped because we didn't. If you compare our last game to now, we've actually regressed. I didn't even know how that was possible, considering we played so bad in our last fixture. But it is what it is. You have to look at it as this: we're devoid of confidence. That's basically it. I think the team currently is at a point where we actually probably need a sports psychologist, if I'm being honest with ourselves. We are not playing at the capacity we can play at. I mean, I look at players like Enzo, like he'll go for international duty and he'll be a superstar. He'll come to Chelsea and he'll be so devoid of confidence. And it's something that affects the whole team. And when 2 or 3 players are void of confidence, everyone is sort of on that level, and that's unfortunate. And that's how we're playing right now. We didn't have a good game. Let's just call it like it is. It wasn't a good game. Yes, we had large spells of possession where we could have done something with it. Yes, we had goal-scoring opportunities that we could do something about it. But like I said in the group, you don't win games by almost scoring or almost passing or almost doing anything. The fact of the matter is we don't have the confidence in front of goals. We don't have confidence in midfield. We don't have confidence in defense. We don't have confidence goalkeeping. Like the simple things, diving on the ground, quick reactions. We can't do it. We're devoid of confidence. That's how we're playing at. And it's affecting everyone. Quality players, like make no mistake, this is our world-class team. But a world-class team is underperforming this poorly. It's not because they're shit. It's because we're devoid of, well, except for Gallagher and Mount. But we're just devoid of confidence. That's just how it is. We're not going to win games convincingly in this state. We genuinely just need to get like a sports psychologist or someone to look at these players.
Well, we've already got the All Blacks geezer in to apparently affect mentality, which obviously I do get. You can't change it in 5 minutes, so I'm not going to moan at him too much. But I think it probably needs more than one person to sort this shit out, because it's all right being you always say that you can lose confidence as quickly as you can gain it, and that is true. Yeah, it does sometimes it only takes a couple of games to gain confidence. But I think when we've been in such a low of confidence for so long, you just at some point you don't know how you're going to get these players out of it in an easy way. There's no simple answer.
I'm going to say, but before you go to Sindred's, but I don't think we played well. I didn't say we played well. I'm saying the result was good. Let's get it right. I don't think
I don't
we played well
the result is good
because it could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, but that's not saying it's good. That's just saying it's less shit.
No, I'm just saying it's good because I'm saying it's good because we've still got opportunity in the second leg. What could be turned around? We've seen stranger things happen in football. I am not sitting, but I don't want my words getting muddled. I'm not sitting here saying that we played brilliant.
Real Madrid didn't even get out of second gear, apparently.
No, Real Madrid didn't play great.
I disagree.
I don't think Real Madrid played that good either. I agree with Sadiq. I don't think Real Madrid could have played the best they could. But the fact that they weren't even as good as us and they still did what they did, it just goes to show you.
And people saying we're going to smash it, we're going to do really well in the second leg. You do realise we've now got Cucurella that has to play 90 minutes. After after how he was today for the Chilwell sending off, after how he was today in general when he come on, you got to see him for another 90 minutes. No, thank you. Game over for me. 1-0. I can kind of understand your point a little bit because it only takes one goal to bring you back into it. But 2-0, no, it's not. It's not going to happen. Sindra, welcome.
Yeah, thanks.
What did you think of the game in general?
Nah, to be honest, I didn't see much of the game because I was at work, so I couldn't see the game. But I got to see like the first 10 minutes, and at that point, I say we looked good. We had the first real opportunity in the game with a really good counterattack from Joao Felix. Of course, he faced a really Real Madrid don't have a slow centre back. Like both Alaba and Eder Militao are really quick, so of course it's going to be hard to run with the ball and outpace Eder Militao. But he got off a good shot that was saved by Courtois. I didn't feel like we had that many shots in the game in total. Like I said, I didn't see the game, but from what I felt like from how the game was going, got to listen to the commentator and stuff in the car on the way home, so know more of what happened in the second half. Of course, the red card, I didn't see how it became a red card, but I know it was a last ditch, like he was last man stopping a goal scoring opportunity from Rodrigo, and therefore he got sent off. But of course, we are a team out of form, out of confidence, and I totally agree with what KJ said. We are a team that massively lacks confidence. Like we can look at from when we attack to when, for example, say only Vinicius Junior attack for Real Madrid, he don't lack confidence at all when he takes on players. He just thinks, I'm gonna go past this player every single time. He did that to Trent Alexander-Arnold 6 times in only one game. And when, for example, say Sterling, this is what I heard from the commentators, when he was running at the defenders, he didn't look really confident to try and take them on and try to go past them. And that's something we have been lacking since Hazard left. Someone who can just take players on without being feared of losing the ball and without being afraid to get tackled and get beaten and harassed, because that is what Hazard was doing every single time he got the ball, running at the opponent's defenders, causing problems. We have lacked that since lockdown Pulisic when he was good for 3 games, and since Hazard left, we don't have that same amount of ferocity and players who wants to take a man on. We're lacking that up front, and that is what is causing us so much problem, because if you don't beat the opponent, the defenders, they can the rest of the defenders can just stay where they are and don't have to move because they don't have to cover for their teammates. And if they don't have to cover, they don't have to move, and if they don't move, we won't have many chances to score goals. It's easy football, but apparently our players can't get the confidence enough to try and take players on, especially our attacking players who has a job to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you get this confidence back. I mean, whoever does come in, whether it is Nagelsmann, Enrique, the other guy that I don't know who he is, but the other guy that's been mentioned, Poch or whoever
Gallardo
comes
as
in,
well.
yeah, whoever comes in, they have got one hell of a job to try and bring this confidence up. I don't think there's one particular player that needs to be signed because, to be honest, everywhere just looks shite. The defense looks somewhat solid at times, but it does make mistakes because if you put something under pressure long enough, it's going to leak a few mistakes. And it doesn't help when your goalkeeper is an absolute shambles at the best of times.
Yeah.
That first goal, I don't know what to say. I mean, I've just been playing six-a-side, and the goalkeeper for six-a-side could do better than that.
Thank God that Benzema wasn't ready for that absolute howler that Kepa gave him in extra time or just before 90 minutes. If Benzema was like if he was actually like knowing that the ball or was ready for the ball when it came to him for a header, it would have been 3-0. And I would say that's game to the match, even though I think it's already game to the match because we lack one of our best players in Ben Chilwell. Conte and Thiago Silva aren't fully fit, so they aren't at their best. And the rest of the team lack confidence. And I don't know what, for example, Thiago Silva or someone else, and we are one centre back shorter now because Koulibaly just pulled a hamstring or got a cramp. So we don't know how long he will be out for, or if he will be available for the next game against Madrid in 2 weeks, in a week's time. It is next Tuesday.
6 days.
Yeah, I truly think that I get everyone's points about, and we are lacking a lot of positivity going forward and stuff. But I am not like worried yet because I look at the Real Madrid side, and then I look at them now, and I look to how they played, and I think they're gettable. If they play like that against at Stamford Bridge, and we up it what we can do, they are gettable. And I think there's certain players that need to be playing. Obviously, unfortunately, with Chilwell, that is a big loss for us, I think. But I think if he wants to carry on with the back three, then it's got to be Chalobah on the left. He's got to play Chalobah with them. Or if he plays Chalobah, he could play Lewis Hall left wing. And that is a big shout. It will be a really big shout. But I'd rather lose Hall and Cucurella at the moment. Cucurella's he's been awful lately. And for me, Mudryk needs to play. You need to play Pulisic. You need to play the people who will run and dribble and create the opportunities for us. I don't think we need to panic. I'm not. I know there's problems at Chelsea. I look at that, but I'm not like you guys thinking there's no chance season's over. Negative. No.
But
yes, I get we're not playing well.
Not all of us. Thank you very much, Wayne.
No, obviously not all. But I'm just saying you've got there's a bigger picture in front of us, and we all need to look at that, not look at what's just in front.
But when I get I want to be optimistic and say that we can beat Madrid. Of course, they didn't play that well, but look at Liverpool, two goals in like 15 minutes. What happened? They absolutely collapsed and lose 6, or was it 4-2? Like we Real Madrid know at Stamford Bridge we need to go all out. Who have they in attack? They have arguably the best striker in the world. Of course, he has not bad like the season he had last year, but one of the best strikers in the world. They're arguably one of the most dangerous left wingers, and Valverde and Rodrigo who can just cause problems whenever they want. So I'm saying, of course, but we need to go all out at the bridge. And what can they do then? They can play us on the counter attack. We need to be aggressive. We need to be on the front foot, and I don't think we will be because we don't have we just aren't that good in the beginning of games, and I don't think is Luis Hall in the Champions League lineup.
Yeah.
But I don't think Lampard will play him because honestly, it's too big of a pressure for an 18-year-old to play at left wing back against Rodrigo.
If we're 2-0 down, I don't see why we're playing a back three. Why you'd play a back three? You're just going to go all out of it. Just play a back four, especially if you haven't got the centre backs for it.
Yeah, but like Kovacic wasn't the best today. Like I don't know what we will do. We need some new midfielders. I know some people there thinks Kovacic is good, but he needs to step up his game. Like
honestly, I've said, and KJ is not going to like this. If he's not signed a new contract by the summer, he can go.
You can go, bro. You can
No,
go.
but if he's not going to commit
or perform the way
I don't see enough from him week in, week out to keep him.
If
he's going to be someone that fetches us a fair bit of money, because there's not a lot of players that would fetch us a fair bit of money the way they're playing at the moment. If Kovacic can fetch us a fair bit of money, then fine.
KJ, can I ask you something? What's your opinion on Mason Mount?
I'll be real, and a lot of people will be surprised by this. I genuinely think there's a good player there. I just don't think Chelsea's the team for him anymore. I don't think he's growing in the squad. I don't think he's able to perform in the squad. And maybe that just adds to the greater problem to what's happening at Chelsea right now. Yeah. I genuinely do think there's a good player there. We just not seeing it. I don't think we will see it.
And to be honest, what you said out now is how I think of Kovacic at the moment. Like, Kovacic for me is starting to become, in the way he performs, a lot like Mason Mount, in the way that he doesn't perform when he's playing. And of course, I'm not saying we should drop him, because who the hell shall we play instead of him if we play three midfielders? I don't want to see Gallagher. I don't want to see Mount. Loftus-Cheek can do a decent job, but I think Kovacic is better than him. So we don't have any, like, if we play three midfielders, we don't have any rotation for Kante, Kovacic, and Enzo at the moment if we play three midfielders. And that's a worrying thing. Because if they don't have like any challenging players ahead of them, that is what I think of Mount, because Mount was such a regular in the team. He didn't have anyone to challenge him for a first team position. That's why I think getting João Felix was a good thing, because João Felix can challenge Mount, and I don't know how Mount will perform for the rest of the season if he gets to play. I think he can, if he starts to step up, that's good for him. That's also good for Chelsea, because that means that we can try to negotiate for more money for him, because he picked up form before the summer. That's good for Chelsea as well. But to me, Kovacic is starting to become like Mount in the way that he doesn't have any players who can challenge him to a starting position, and therefore sometimes they can put in a not the best performance and still start the next game.
I think you're fair in saying that, and I can understand it. But the reason why I don't disagree is because as a fan base, we have a tendency of just flip-flopping with players. I'm seeing tweets right now about Ben Chilwell and how he stinks. We were literally begging for him to come back and saying how good he was, which is why I'm not fazed by the comment, because I know when we hit a good string of form, and Cove is having a good 3 weeks, we're gonna change our minds. So
but KJ, do you agree with the fundamental point that if he hasn't signed a contract by the end of the season, he can't stay?
I think if he hasn't signed a contract, it clearly means that he's not in it at Chelsea anymore. So I wouldn't want a player that doesn't want to play for the club to be a part of the
Yeah,
club.
I mean
Like
that's the point. That's the point I'm making with Cover. If Cover wants to sign a new contract, I don't have a problem with him staying. But if he doesn't want, and this is the same with
People can't
Mason
put on
Mount.
mute.
As Patrick has said, I'm not singling Mason Mount as the only player of this race. Anyone that doesn't want to sign a new contract and stay on 1 year left just has to go. Simple as that. We don't. I'm fed up with keeping players who are not committed to this club. I mean, we've already got players like Pulisic and Ziyech who've been here way too long, who are clearly not committed to the club. We've got Mason Mount, who we don't know what's going on with him. You have Kovacic again. We don't know what's going on with him, but there's no signs of him signing a new contract. Mendy clearly doesn't want to be at the club. So for me, all of them, if they do not want to sign a new contract, gone. I don't care who you are. I don't care whether you're obviously the only exception to the 1 year rule would obviously be Thiago Silva, because obviously he's only signing 1 year extension, so that's a bit different. But anyone else, if you're on 1 year left, you've simply got to go. I don't care who you are. That's the problem. I think we need to really cut out the. And I don't mean it in a rude way when I say the word snakes, but the guys that don't want, the guys that are not committed. That's the last thing we need, is people that are not committed to the club.
Is someone throwing my car or anything?
I guarantee that's Nico.
Yeah, can we put him on mute for a while until he's going to speak? Because sorry to say that, but the noise is really annoying.
Yeah. Anyway, big up to Surinaf. Still stuck with crazy work, but big up to the panel. We need more lethal finishes. That crazy creativity which doesn't convert despite showing flashes. Yeah, I mean,
what bothers me is when we've had this conversation is, and I truly do get where everyone's coming from, but we could be a lot worse. Look at Bayern Munich. Look how bad it is for them at the moment.
Bayern Munich ain't sitting in 11th.
No, I'm not on about the league. I'm on about as a team, as a team dynamic. You look at, they lost against Man City and one of the players punched the other.
I mean, to be honest, at least they have a bit of fight. I'd wish our players had a bit of fight at the moment.
And the difference between
preferably not against each other, but I'd rather them fight against each other than just no fight at all.
Bro, literally, the difference between us and Bayern is Bayern could come back the second leg. They could literally score 6 goals. They have the capacity to do that. Whereas if it was us, there's no way you'd be saying we're coming back from that goal deficit.
If you had Tuchel, we could have, but we don't anymore. We saw it last season. We almost beat them at Santiago Bernabeu, which we now lost 2-0. So anything is possible, but I don't think we will beat them at the Bridge. I think it's going to be a draw, in my opinion. I don't think we'll have the capacity to score, and I think we'll actually try and hold them to a draw.
I think it's going to be one of those very, very frustrating games where we play really well, we will create a lot of chances and look like we might actually advance, but we're just going to be absolutely shit with our finishing.
Yeah,
and I can just see it. You know, the atmosphere is going to be magical. The team's going to be up for it. They're going to turn up in every single way, but the attack, like always.
Can I just read you something what Lampard's come out and said? There's a little.
He gives it his all.
Please
tell me he hasn't said the players have given everything.
He said there's a little bit of lack of belief. I think the players need to understand how good they are and what they can do. Maybe we're a bit short on that at the minute. The result is really, but I just want to say to the players that the special thing can happen at Stamford Bridge. That's a very good team, but we have to believe. So basically, saying he's proud of the 10 men performance and that.
But I mean, that's what we've been saying. We've been saying they lack confidence. Clearly,
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't take a manager's degree to tell us that.
like these players are definitely good. There are elite players in this team. They when they step in the squad, they don't believe that. It's not hard to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, saying it publicly that these players are low on confidence isn't really going to help the confidence levels.
Yeah, I don't know why he said that.
I mean, it is what it is. I don't think there's to be fair, I don't think there's anything Lampard can say at the moment that'd be right. I think it's not. I think sometimes the less that's said, the better. Apart from the stupid questions that he gets, such as the James Corden one in the press conference, I thought that was the most ridiculous question to ask once again. And I actually liked the way Lampard answered it. But there you go. Yeah, I just don't know what to say about this game anymore. I think, as we've kind of mentioned a little bit, I think the scary thing is Real Madrid didn't have to be good to beat us today. That's the scary part. If they even sharp 50% of what they did against Liverpool, we are absolutely screwed.
Yeah. And Reece James, in my opinion, from what you can see, Reece James had the best job against Vinicius Jr. today as well, from what he did earlier. But I think it's also with the confidence that he has struggled with the injury. So I think he needs to protect himself a little bit more and be more careful when going into challenges and running a lot against Vinicius. But what's your thoughts on the ref today? Because from what he started off really early with a yellow card, for Fofana with a yellow card after 4 minutes.
I mean, the problem when you start like that as a referee,
you need to keep it up.
And you have to carry that on. You can't not carry that on. So he's kind of. I mean, I don't mind if a referee's going to give cards out willy-nilly to both teams. I've not really got a problem with that. Sometimes giving a card out that early stamps an authority on the game, and it calms the game down a little bit. But sometimes that can work in your way. So I'm not really too bothered. I think the big decisions, I think he was corrected. I think the Chilwell sending off was completely correct. He's last man. It's not a blame on Chilwell because Chilwell has to do it. Otherwise, it's most likely a goal.
I would blame more Cucurella because Cucurella didn't track the run.
It's Cucurella's fault for losing him in the first place.
It's
Chilwell
his
just
man.
had to take one for the team. I heard people saying, "Oh, Chilwell's crap because of that." It's like saying he shouldn't deserve his new contract. It's like, come on.
If you ask every single Chelsea fan, would you rather be lose 2-0 and a red card, or lose 3-0 and still have 11 men? Honestly, I would take the 2-0 the result today because it's still one less goal to score. If we went to the bridge, we need to score 4 goals without conceding a goal against Real Madrid. Now we need to go to the bridge and score 3 goals. 3 goals is still less than 4 goals. So, of course, I don't think we will because we haven't scored now in 4 games in a row. That's the first time since I think it was 2007, from what I could hear.
And we only need to score 2. Shit, my webcam fell. We only need to score. We only need. Oh, fuck you.
It's just showing the merch, Alfred.
Yeah, that's it. Get yours. Beautiful, very comfortable.
Check us out, WorldWideChels.
That's the slandering of Chilwell because he got the red card is undeserved. Of course, that's how social media works these days. You could just see. I don't know if any of you saw the Jamie Carragher tweet about how Virgil van Dijk was better than Vidic.
That made me laugh.
That's one. It's just recency bias, and to be fair, Van Dijk has been before this season and before his injury. He was really good for Liverpool. I completely agree. He was the best defender in the league at that point. But Vidic had a more consistent, and of course, he brings up. What's the one player who you think of who tortured with Vidic?
Torres.
Yeah, Torres scored 3 goals in 15 games against Vidic. So another example, of course, I've watched this a lot on social media. I know this isn't relevant to Chelsea, but to be fair, what else is there to talk about from the game? Marcus Rashford has scored 6 goals in 13 games against Virgil van Dijk. So that's almost a 1 goal into like a goal a second game, if you get what I mean. So that means that Marcus Rashford have tortured Virgil van Dijk more times than Torres tortured Vidic, and of course everyone thinks of the Torres Vidic duels. That was like 1 or 2 games where he did that. But he also brought in Rio Ferdinand, and that both Rio Ferdinand and John Terry had poor seasons. Like this is from my younger Chelsea fans to you, some like older Chelsea fans. Can you name me a poor season from John Terry, from what you've seen? Name me a poor season from John Terry. Anyone?
There isn't one.
Yeah, that's the point. You can't bring in, like, of course, probably the 16.
I suppose you probably could say the worst season John Terry's ever had was probably that the first Champions League winning season.
11.
Just because he wasn't very good under Villas-Boas at all. Obviously, he didn't play as well, which didn't help. And then he also did make big mistakes in crucial games. But that's nothing compared to the amount of disaster classes we've seen in the last couple of seasons by certain players.
Yeah.
No, he's not even near that. That's just me being picky with John Terry.
Yeah, and maybe also the third Jose Mourinho season in 15-16 where he finished 10th. That could also be one. But at that point, I think John Terry was like 33, 34, 35. So of course was at the end of his career. But Van Dijk is 31, and from how his ceiling was to his season now, it's gone like this. There's a massive drop off from Virgil van Dijk. And of course, it has to do with the players around him as well. The midfield isn't the same. The fullbacks is performing worse. So of course, there are frailties in the team, but that also shows that in a solid team, Van Dijk looks a lot better and a lot like he's talked about as the best defender in the world and stuff like that. In my opinion, that's just my opinion from how we can see how the big drop off is. That's his 18-19 season, which was arguably his best season, where he was contender for Ballon d'Or. That's in my opinion, that it's a bit overrated because his team was like so good that he didn't do a lot of things. But of course, Liverpool fans say, it's the same for John Terry and Van Dijk, Rio Ferdinand and Vidic because their team was arguably better. But don't forget, Liverpool fans at this point said, we have the best fullbacks, best defender, best goalkeeper, best winger, best wingers, best midfielder, best defensive midfielder. So according to them, they're one of the best teams in the league in history. But how can that team? Of course, people say, they have faced the best team in the Centurions and City. But if you look at, for example, the three-peat of Manchester United, the league was much closer in that period of time than it was now. So how is the league harder like now than it was back then? Because City won Centurion with 19 points, and then of course it was like 2 seasons where Liverpool and City, there was a 1 point difference, and then Liverpool won the league with 19 points. So how is that league harder? Because like from what I was looking at this, the average point between first and second was 4 points in that three-peat for United. So how is that three-peat not harder? Because they had more challenges, harder teams to face because they didn't get as many points and stuff like that. And therefore, in my opinion, that time period was harder. And of course, Vidic faced a lot. I would say arguably better strikers in his prime than what Van Dijk did. There was no Drogba. There was no, of course, Vidic didn't face Henry at Arsenal, but there were still a lot of big strikers in the Premier League at the time who Van Dijk didn't have to face.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, to sum that up, we can just conclude that.
But John Terry is the best.
Jamie Carragher chats shit and spits at kids.
Yeah,
That's it. I don't know how that guy is still employed anywhere. I don't know how people give him time, because after he spat at that kid, that honestly should have just been a career-ending, just finished move. Yeah.
Wouldn't you say that about Hazard as well, because he kicked the ball boy?
Yeah, but that was a bit. There were different situations.
Yeah, the ball boy didn't want to give away the ball.
Hazard was trying to get
Hazard
the ball,
was not intentionally trying to kick the ball.
Yeah, I know he was trying to kick. He
But
was trying to
Carragher
kick the ball.
intentionally trying to spit at someone. Let's remember in a time when COVID is flying about. So.
I did that. I did have the COVID. Jesus Christ, what an idiot.
Yeah. But anyway, nip in. You're back, so you're not in the car. You're not having car noises. So nip in. If you are there, you are unmuted, and you can speak. What do you think of the game?
We were shit, just like all season.
Thank you for hearing that, Wayne, because some other people have been saying that we played, that we weren't that bad a result.
That's exactly the type of mentality I dislike.
Yeah. Well, you call them out, Nippin, because
you know what kind of mentality I dislike, Nippin?
I told them, everyone laughed at me on Twitter when I said there's no way we're winning this game. They said, "Oh, believe in Chelsea, believe in this."
And they should laugh at you, Nippin, because it's a bullshit. It's a bullshit.
Yeah,
opinion.
if it's bullshit, we just lost 2-0.
I don't give a fuck if we just lost 2-0. Before the game, it was possible that we would win. Never go into a game saying that you'll never win, that you won't win, because that's a pathetic shit mentality. And if the players have that kind of mentality, that's when we won't win.
I completely agree with Alfred. It's like, for example, say you go 1-on-1, going for challenge in football. If you think you're going to get hurt and are pulling yourself from the challenge, of course you're going to lose the challenge. But if you think, I'm going to get that ball, I'm going to beat him to it, and then you get first to it, you need to have that winning mentality, of course. But I can see why people think, of course, don't forget, this is a Madrid side who just beat Barcelona 4-0 just recently with the exact same team. So I wouldn't. I'm like, okay, people think we're gonna lose. I'm like, okay, that's you can't think that, but it's acceptable to think that because you're not, because we don't have that confidence in the team, and the team doesn't have confidence. Of course, we can think that this is not our time. We are not going to win this. That's just my opinion. Like, people need to have their own opinion. And of course, you will not agree with it, but let them have their opinion, because an opinion is opinion. You can totally disagree with it, but you don't have to always tell someone, I disagree with you, because you can't have that opinion, because you need to back your team. Sometimes you just have to face it that we're facing a better team. But we have been underdogs before. We have come back from Napoli 2012, almost came back against Real Madrid last season. We can still come back. It's not totally done, but it will be a difficult challenge. Of course it will be. Do I think we will do it? I honestly don't think we will.
And that's what bothers me, Sindra. You know, it's like these people don't know the history of Chelsea Football Club. And I mean, I keep on saying this, how many fucking times do we have to prove that we should not be counted out? The amount of times that we were underdogs and done the most unlikely, most unthinkable comebacks, some of the most unbelievable that you've ever seen in football.
Especially with the teams we did with as well. Don't forget the teams we did have at that point.
I mean, I can understand both sides, to be honest, because at the moment, as a fan, with such lack of change that we've seen this season with our players, I can understand fans going into the aspect of, I'm not expecting to win something. I'm not expecting to win this game.
No, but see, Matt, that's perfectly fine. Okay, you can say you don't expect, and it's a perfectly reasonable thing to say at this point in time. But what you should never say is, we are not winning this game. We are definitely not winning this game, because that is a shit mentality. If players go into,
to be brutally honest, I when I finished my six-a-side football match, I picked up my phone and I literally just said, how many goals have we conceded? Because I thought we're probably going to lose. And obviously we're 1-0 down, so I was kind of proved right there. But it's not looking good. I can understand fans have a lack of confidence because it is disgraceful. And for me, I said this at the beginning of the season, and you guys all called me negative, abused me all the way through the summer. And this is when people like Patrick was nonsense about Bowley being a bad owner just because he's American, blatant xenophobia there. But I've said we've been on this downward path for a long while.
Yeah,
I think it could be a very long season, and it has been a very long season.
Yeah.
Slightly different reasons, but I think this would have been, we would have gone maybe into a similar path, maybe not as bad, but we still would have been a really bad path.
In my opinion, this all changed when we wanted someone who played a better type of football. For example, when we were pointed sorry, because we were, in my opinion, a team from Abramovich that just wanted to win everything. We didn't care about how much we spent. We didn't care how many managers we sacked. We didn't care what we won. We just wanted to win everything. And from when we appointed Sarri, I feel like after we sacked Conte, we haven't looked for, when we signed Sarri, we didn't go for a manager that is well known. And of course, I don't think there was many managers available at the time that was well known and had won a lot. But then it was, we want to play. I don't know who in the board or who at Chelsea said this, but we want someone who plays a lot of better football, more entertaining football, who like the Peps, the Klopps, the likes, this sort of that. And then we signed Sarri, and after that, we haven't been the same. Like, we haven't been as ruthless in the league. We haven't really challenged for the league since we sacked Conte, and in my opinion, that's a problem. We need to be type of, we want to win everything. Of course, I also want us to have a project with a long-term manager, and that will take time before we win anything. But I don't know what's going to do, what will happen. But we've changed so much since we sacked Conte in his second season.
I mean, I'm going to slightly disagree on that. I understand your point, but I do think the natural progression in football nowadays has
changed.
Has changed in the way of teams have to play better now. There's not many teams that play defensive football, and the clubs that you look at, someone like Atletico Madrid is a perfect example. They haven't changed, and it's been for the worst.
They fell off a cliff.
They've fallen off a cliff. They are nowhere near the club that they once were. And people like Mourinho, Simeone are going out of fashion a little bit. I actually think the big change that we had in terms of where it all went wrong was getting rid of Emanalo and bringing in Marina Granovskaya, who wasn't very good. I think, yes, people will point to the fact that we won the league with Conte, but I do think that was a bit of a freak season where we had no Champions League, playing once a week. And we managed to sneak in a victory when other teams necessarily weren't at their best, weren't fully firing. But since Marina come in, it has been a steady decline in the absolute lack of recruitment, the absolute lack of identity, the absolute lack of using data, anything. The reason why we have such a midfield problem is because Marina Granovskaya has not looked to replace the defensive midfielder we lost in 2017 of Matic.
Yeah.
We still haven't. It's been 6 years since and we still haven't really got that defensive midfielder. Enzo is technically you can play him as a number 6, but that's not his role.
He's not on the 6.
We still haven't signed a defensive midfielder in 6 years, which yet maybe we could have signed one now, but I do think that is, with this new ownership, a priority, and with the players we've been linked with, you can see that's a priority. But
yeah,
I think people will blame, and this is where I want to kind of turn the discussion on for the last 10, 15 minutes onto the ownership debate, because I've seen this kind of distinct, clear agenda shift since Potter's gone, Lampard's in, but suddenly now it's gone from everything's on Potter to now everything's on Todd Bowley, which I think is borderline ludicrous, in my opinion, in the way of, yes, he's made mistakes, which a new owner coming into football who has never been in football before, of course, it's natural that you are going to make mistakes. You're going to get your pants pulled down on certain players, which new owner hasn't. But the fact that everyone is suddenly blaming every single little thing on Todd Bowley, I think is just ludicrous, ridiculous. I understand the manager point of view. I think that is the mistake I think Todd Bowley has made. But it is what it is. And I can point out a lot of Chelsea fans that were waxing lyrical about Graham Potter before he comes to Chelsea. So in hindsight, people love to look in hindsight, especially with these new signings. So people look in hindsight and go, oh, why have we spent all this money on Mudryk? Well, when Mudryk was signed, all of you guys were celebrating. So you can't go and say Todd Bowley's made a mistake with Mudryk when you would have made, when you were agreeant in that exact same mistake.
And like,
and
of
then
course,
I think one comment I want to try and go back to and find it, and I don't mean to call this person out, but I do think it is a ludicrous comment, in the fact that there is no kind of logic to it. Where is it? Let me find it. Here we go. So Patrick said, our owners are like the Glazers on steroids. Well, clearly, Patrick, you've never actually understood what the Glazers do at Man United, because if anything, Todd Bowley is the complete opposite to the Glazers. All the Glazers do is don't spend money
and take out money.
and take money out. Todd Bowley's done the complete opposite and just poured a fuck ton of money in.
Don't forget we spent like 7, like I don't.
And just to make that comparison, because he's just an American, because he's a Yank, as they're going to say, is just completely ludicrous. And this is not me defending them as an American, as people would expect Americans to defend Americans. I would understand that. But I think Todd Bowley's made a mistake on the management stuff. But it is what it is. I don't think he's made particularly mistakes on the players. I think you look at all of these players that's been signed. Koulibaly, Sterling was one where some people liked him, some people didn't like him. So maybe that one people could argue. But everyone wanted Koulibaly when he come in. Most people wanted Cucurella when he come in. Most people wanted most of the players that come in. Enzo, Mudryk, Badiashile was a bit of an outside one, but he's played quite well, so I don't see him as a mistake. So I don't think everything from these owners have been bad. I think the people they've brought in, Vivell, I think is a good option. And I think we really will see what this ownership is like in the summer. Don't forget, people moaning again about the financial fair play stuff. That's completely out of Bowley's hands at times, because most of these problems have come from sanctions, which fundamentally destroyed our club. And that, if anyone wants to really blame of why we've just gone to complete mess, blame the UK government. Don't blame Todd Bowley for picking our club up and effectively saving our club from going out of business.
Yo, Matt, and to add to your point, what ownership actually takes the time to adhere to the fans, to listen to the fans, to talk to the fans? I've never seen any one of these owners go on a Twitter space just to hear what the fans are saying about their players. The ownership are doing everything in their power to not only rectify the mistake they made. I'm pretty sure they recognize that bringing in Potter was a huge gamble and didn't pay off, and they're trying to rectify that. And not only that, they're giving us everything we beg for and ask for. Like
Yeah.
what ownership takes the time to actually do that? We're literally on the cusp of spending north of $1 billion on bringing in recruitment, changing the infrastructure of the club. No
And then-
ownership doing that. Sorry, Sanjay.
and I haven't even been there for a year. We're soon just touching a year since they bought the club, and they've spent over 600 million in that time. I don't think I think it took the Glaciers a really good 7-8 years to spend £1 billion. Of course, the transfer market is completely different back then when they bought United, but still, Todd Bowley, in my opinion, is nowhere near as bad of an owner as any of the other American owners, like the Cronkies, the Glaciers,
Even
and
FFG.
FFG. Like FFG, they said put Liverpool out of sale, giving Liverpool fans hope that of course that you're going to get Jude Bellingham, man. They're going to spend loads of money. They're going to be like the new city and stuff like that. What did they do? They retracted the sale and said, "No, we're not going to sell the club. We want to keep the club."
And now they said they're not going to sign Jude Bellingham, which I think I've said for a while that they're not going to sign Jude Bellingham.
I didn't have the financial power to sign Jude Bellingham.
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe that Bowley hasn't exactly spent the money as well as he could have, but I think there has been issues where I think Chelsea have looked to sell players. Ziyech should have gone if it weren't for some dodgy fax machines. Pulisic would have been gone already if it wasn't for his injury. Gallagher would have been gone on deadline day if it wasn't for the fact that Everton bidded £40 million that they didn't have, which I find if you want to look at bad owners, look at people like Everton. Don't look at Bowley and go, "Oh my God, he's the worst owner in the world." You got to look at people like Kroenke's, the Glazers, Mashiri, FSG, who've been terrible owners. FSG have been riding off the fact that they sold Coutinho for a lot of money and brought in 2 good signings. But Liverpool are falling apart as I predicted that they would, because they've lost it. Nippin, you did want to say something quickly before we go back to Syndra.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you're muted. You're muted, Nippin. Nippin, you're muted.
Nippin?
Yeah, I just wanted to say about the owners that I think, unlike the Glazers, FSG, and all that, I think they are learning from their mistakes. The key chief among which, since we sacked Potter, we've actually been linked with proper managers like Luis Enrique, Julian Nagelsmann,
Gallardo, and Mourinho as well.
Mourinho, even Conte. If they hadn't learned from their lesson, if they hadn't learned from their mistakes, guarantee you we'd be linked with people like Marco Silva, De Zerbi, Marco Silva, De Zerbi, Sam Allardyce, even.
Sam Allardyce. Sam Allardyce ain't in the same conversation as Potter, to be honest.
Yeah,
but even with the Potter signing, I can, not completely ignoring how it's turned out, because I'm not going to take that as a bias, but thinking back to when they first made the decision, I can understand some of the logic behind it. Obviously, it is a risky move, and they have got egg on their face because of the move, because it hasn't worked out. But a lot of there was hundreds and thousands of Chelsea fans that were absolutely waxing lyrical about how great Brighton are, how great of a tactical manager Potter is, and I think he has made the wrong decision in terms of he stepped up a bit too quick into a situation where I think Potter wasn't necessarily able to deal with. I think Potter should have gone to someone like Tottenham first
Yeah, I was
tried it
thinking
out
that as
there,
well.
and then moved on. But it is what it is. And maybe they've gone into the naive fact of let's get a British manager, let's appease the matchday fans a little bit, and let's try and build from there. Which I understand that if you look at how they have managed the LA Dodgers, who are, by the way, a very good sports team. So for people to say that they don't know how to run a sports team, you're clearly chatting rubbish, because if you look at the LA Dodgers, they're actually a very good team. But they had that same philosophy. They brought in a younger manager, which is why I think they might still go for Nagelsmann, because that kind of fits their criteria in terms of managers, and they give manager time. So I can understand why they went for maybe the Potter route. It hasn't worked out, and it is what it is. Owners make mistakes.
And by the way, yeah,
Do we?
So-
I mean, Roman Abramovich was a fantastic owner for us, but do we have did we have the same criticisms for Roma when he brought in Andre Villas-Boas? Did we have the same criticism for Roman when he sacked Mourinho, who'd won 2 Premier Leagues the year before, and brought in Avram Grant, who, as the players have now come out and said, was so useless that they picked the team themselves effectively and themselves, and that was the other reason he actually looks good statistically. It's because he actually just had a fantastic team around him.
Yeah.
But do we moan at Roman for that? Or no, we didn't. There was nowhere near this velocity of abuse, and I understand we weren't 11th at that point. But what people do have to also take into account, this is a much more competitive Premier League than before. Back in them days, if you had a bad season, you'd finish 4th. Now you have a bad season, you finish 11th. There are so many good teams that have propped into the scene. Newcastle, a lot of money, new investment, very good team. Brighton and Brentford have got fantastic models that have rejuvenated themselves. Fulham have had an absolute blinding season. Aston Villa with Unai Emery's come into the fold now. There are so many good teams around, and I am probably missing out teams. Obviously, there are teams like Liverpool. Liverpool have dropped out of it, and they're all right. They're not as bad as us, but they're not that far away from us. They've had just as bad a season as us. We've just I think the difference is our players have just completely dropped the season. I think Liverpool players still have some.
Liverpool versus Chelsea is just shit versus shit. I mean, like, who's less shit than the other?
But that's what I mean. I mean, I think it's now very quick. It's now very easily to finish 11th place. I think problem is with Chelsea fans nowadays is everyone thinks we are entitled to finish 4th. We are not in this competitive Premier League that we've got now, where every club is spending at least 100 million per season in transfers, at least. Even your lower clubs. I mean, look how much.
Really, even the relegation team.
I mean, look how much Forest spent.
Everton have spent in recent years.
So many teams.
Look Southampton. Southampton haven't spent over $1 million.
I guarantee they've spent over 100 million this season.
Then why they sat rock bottom? They're on the verge of getting relegated, man.
Nothing, because they spent the money wrong. But my point is, when you've got such a competitive Premier League as you've got now, there is no entitlement anymore. If you slip, you are slipping down, down, down. And I guarantee there will be other clubs that do the same. Tottenham are on a very slippery slope. And I reckon they'll drop. They could drop completely out of security. I think Liverpool will do the same, because I think there is a lack of backing from the Liverpool owners. Big up to Sadiq, who has just joined us.
Hey.
But there is a lack of backing, and there will be teams that drop out. There will be teams that drop in, because the Premier League is so competitive nowadays. You can't just have a bad season and finish 4th anymore. If you have a bad season, you finish mid-table. Simple as. And I think Chelsea fans, the more we understand that, and understand that the Premier League is so much more competitive, the easier it will be not to understand, because there's no excusing for this, but to, in a way, not be so hyperbolic and just insanely crazy at the moment with the way we are, some fans are being at the moment. I mean, we are shit. It is what it is. This season is done with. We have a chance. We have the, as I will call, the Alfred chance in terms of winning the second leg, but it is the unlikely. And I think once that's done, for me, there's nothing for me.
It's just done. Yeah.
I mean, if I was Frank Lampard, I mean, he's not going to get the job at the end of it. Just play the kids, play whoever you want, play the kids who might have a bit more confidence. Your Dacho Fofanas, your Carney Chukwuemeka's, get them, breed them. If we're going to finish 11th, 12th, I'd rather finish 11th, 12th and see them get a few games.
Yeah, you might as well try something that you haven't been that hasn't been done.
Try playing Mudryk and Madueke a bit more. Try and breed them into it. I know you got to play. You kind of do have to play Felix because he was a very expensive loan player. So maybe you do play him, but you play Madueke on the right. You play Mudryk on the left.
This might be an unpopular opinion.
I mean, people keep talking about the midfield and how we've got the midfield was a bit too defensive. Well, Carney Chukwuemeka could fit right in there if you really wanted to. I mean, the Premier League games are it's bust anyway. There's nothing to fight for anyway. I know we can mathematically get Conference League, but we're not with the matches we've got. We've got Man City, we've got United, we've got Newcastle, we've got Arsenal. We're not gonna win. We've got Brentford, we've got Brighton, we've got loads of teams above us. We're not gonna realistically win all them matches on the form and the confidence we are. So I'd just rather play the kids, get them a bit of experience, move into next season and try and refresh.
If we don't advance past Real Madrid, the one thing that I ask from the rest of this season, put an end to Arsenal.
Hey, we will.
I think Arsenal self-destruct themselves anyway. I think they'll lose to City, and then they'll have Newcastle.
You think they're going to top the league?
Yes, I think Man City will be.
In my opinion, that is wishful thinking. In my opinion,
Have you seen Man City's new formation?
I think Man City will not lose a game this season.
Nippon,
the rest of the games.
Nippon, did you not just see Arsenal drop a fucking 2-0 lead against Liverpool? What are you talking about?
But Nippon, I think they'll lose against City, which is not totally unrealistic. You agree?
Of course.
And then the game they've got after is Newcastle.
No, don't
tell me Newcastle can't beat Arsenal either.
You reckon they're going to beat Manchester City?
And if Arsenal if Arsenal lose against City and drop points against Newcastle, that's the league done.
And you know a funny thing, what date have Arsenal Chelsea been moved to? Have anyone seen that on Twitter?
2nd May.
2nd of May. What game did we play on 2nd of May that's also really memorable? The Battle of the Bridge against Tottenham in 2016, where we ended their title hopes and gave Leicester the league title. So
the second?
Yeah, the same date. So what's the chance of us giving Man City the league title and making Arsenal bottle the league? I don't care if we draw. I don't care if we of course, I hope we don't lose. If we draw or win or beat them and give City the league title by then.
Sindre, I don't. When it comes to Arsenal, the scum, I don't want this. I hope we don't lose.
I don't say I hope we don't lose.
It's unacceptable when we play Arsenal.
Hey, Nippon, we are now like Arsenal fans were to Chelsea when we were at our best. Of course, they want to beat us, but they were hoping we didn't beat and batter them.
It's a rivalry. It's something that runs deep.
Yeah,
the hatred.
You can still be afraid of the rival team. You can still be afraid of a loss. I'm not saying we're gonna lose. I'm just afraid that we're gonna lose because they're a much better team than us at the moment.
Of course, there's no denying that. But that still doesn't change the fact that I want nothing more than 3 points. Like that.
Sindre.
Yeah.
When we finished 10th, we beat Arsenal away from home.
Look, that would be so sweet. That we are look, they've been bantering Chelsea more than Tottenham this season. I don't know if you've seen that.
Yeah, that's because we have been worse than Tottenham.
I can see it. I can see it now, lads. Mikhailo Mudryk ends Arsenal titles hopes. Yes.
The guy can't get on the pitch,
Come
bro.
on.
That would be
Can't get
so.
Not for that game. I promise you.
Can't
Certain
get-
fans have already booked their tickets for the parade. Sorry, no. Have already started. Certain overseas fans have started booking their tickets to go to London for the parade.
Yes. You're talking about Molino. Yes, we know, Lipin. You love Molino.
Who doesn't?
Guys, I just want to say
That's
very
why
quickly,
I don't. Oh.
Nippin. We can win next week. That's the most important thing. I still think we can win.
99%
Hey,
faith.
I'm hoping for a birthday miracle.
Bro, if we get an early goal, which is a miracle, if we get an early goal,
We almost
things
got an
could
early goal
change.
today.
Not Nipid, Sadiq. All I'm hearing is ifs and buts.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
team, they haven't got the confidence.
Yes,
that we do.
maybe we only deal in
Bro,
absence.
Champions League at the bridge is different, guys. You don't understand. It's different.
No, I do
Yes,
understand,
Sadiq.
but this is not the same team. This
Matt,
team is a shadow of any of the teams.
if I get you a ticket, would you come?
Oh, I'm working.
Oh, I really want to. I actually want to go now.
It's Tuesday, isn't it?
I think so.
Yeah, it's Tuesday night.
If it was Wednesday,
8
I'd be
p.m.
able to come. But
Working.
Bro, work's not watching. Just call in sick.
no, I can't.
No, man, we're short-staffed. We're short-staffed.
Nippin, are you going?
Can't.
Why?
Short-staffed at work.
Alfred.
I'll be
I
there.
might. Wait, it's an evening kickoff, right?
No, it's at 3 p.m. This guy.
To be fair, the Women's Champions League semi-finals at 12:30. It really pissed me off.
So, bro, men's football is never at 3 p.m. or 12 p.m. Bro.
I don't get it. All the other games are in the evening, but the home leg for Barcelona is at 12:30, which has pissed me off because I'm in Twickenham that day for
Hey,
the
Matt.
rugby, so I can't go.
Matt, do you watch Family Guy?
I do. I haven't watched it for a while.
Well, then just do what Peter does. Just say, call up work and say, hi, I can't come to work tomorrow because I'm dead. No, sorry, I can't come to work because I'm dead. See you tomorrow.
This
I
is
love that guy.
Guys, let's wrap up, man. Let's wrap up.
yeah.
Unfortunately, it wasn't meant to be a historic night tonight. Last year on this day, we beat Madrid away from home, but we got cheated by VAR. But today I don't think we weren't good, but Madrid weren't that amazing. Honestly, they weren't amazing.
I just said that's the scary part, that Madrid weren't amazing and they still.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. At home, we're gonna slap them with the fans behind.
Yeah.
The match-going fans that think they're special, and we don't need international fans. We can do it, guys.
I'm just gonna say this. You say that we got robbed by VAR, but if that was this year, we wouldn't, because did you see against Brighton how many goals they got disallowed for handball? Because if it touches your hand now, it just is a handball to rule book. They changed the rule book now, so if it touches your hand, it's a handball. Is yes.
The game's ruined, bro.
Well, it shouldn't be. I agree. If you hold your hand into your body or somewhere close to your body, it shouldn't be. But if it sticks out and hits you if it sticks out like this and it hits your arm, of course it's probably natural, but it still touches your hand.
Yeah. I'm still surprised you were streaming at this time, personally.
I do need to go. But...
I just.
I'll let you go, bro. I'll let you go. I'll end it, bro. Don't worry, I'll end it. Thanks for hosting, man. Appreciate it.
No worries. Cheers.
I just want to comment on what I saw from a comment about. Yes, Abramovich sacked managers quickly, but this new regime wants to stick to a manager. They don't want to be like Roman Abramovich, and of course none of us were happy with, I think, Potter at the end, but you never know. Something could just clicked in Porto a day, and suddenly this is how we're gonna play, and then he can turn around the season. Like everyone was gonna start praising him again. It's just the same with any other players we have now. When they play good, we're praising them. Also, when they play bad, for example, Chilwell, or does something stupid, for example, Chilwell today, he gets slated on social media. That's just how we are as fans at the moment. We expect so much, we demand so much, and if you don't get what you're happy with, of course you're gonna complain. But sometimes you have to just suck it up. Life is hard sometimes, and just live on with it. We can't do any. We can't change how the short was today. We can't change how Potter managed Chelsea. It's just how we just need to accept this is life, and we need to move on. Now we're a really terrible team. Of course, we're not going to always be terrible. Look at Arsenal, look at United. They're going to come back and be at the top again. So will Chelsea, hopefully in a lot fewer years than what both Arsenal and United have gone through. That's just how life is sometimes. We're at the bottom at the moment, and probably can be. We're not. I don't think we even are at the bottom. There's still a long way down to be at the bottom for Chelsea, but we're not there yet. We can still get back to the top.
Sindri, it's like you've grown up a lot. Well done. Very mature, very well detailed. But guys, I'm going to wrap it up.
Yeah, I need to go to bed.
Yeah, thanks for everyone coming on. Matt,
no
Wayne,
problem.
Alfred, Nippon, Sindri,
Always
everyone.
a pleasure.
KJ, appreciate it, man. Hopefully we come back next week.
Yeah, I
Hopefully.
don't think I will, because I'm probably working day, so I will be up like 4 hours from now, or in 5 hours for you, since you're 1 hour behind.
Forex trading, my friend. Keep it up.
3-0 on the bridge.
Take care, you lot.
Yeah, take care.
Take care.
Don't forget to like